All right, y'all. Happy fall. I'm alive. You're alive, unless you're watching this from the grave. So clearly, everything's fine. And I am not at all frustrated by the fact that I interviewed with two stations with the same broadcasting company, a national one that rhymes with Beckstar. And I had one make me an official offer in writing, HR letters and everything, and the other make me a verbal offer. Both of them flew me out. Both of them had me stay in a hotel, spend like 24 hours almost with the team. I was in the city for that long, met everybody or almost everybody, went around the city with the news director, and in the case of another station, the second station, uh, got to even have dinner with a couple different people who worked there. So, the reason why my offers were rescinded was because the second station, the bigger station, bigger media market, and I should say that both of these were out of state, not where I'm currently located, not New York City, and not California, because at this point in my career, it's almost impossible to get like a traditional broadcast job at a station in New York or LA. That's just how these things work. You have to go to the middle of nowhere. Or in my case, I was actually pretty fortunate. These locations were not the middle of nowhere, they were just smaller cities than where I live now. So the second station, after I had visited, after I had been on hold for a month, because I went to Vienna for my media fellowship. You might have seen some of the shorts that I've posted about that, and that was incredible. That was a beautiful experience. No regrets about that whatsoever. But I was there for a couple of weeks, so with the interviews beforehand, and then them agreeing to have me come out. Yeah, it was like a month between that first conversation and me actually getting flown out, which for markets, mid-size and large markets is pretty typical. Tiny markets aren't going to do that, but for mid-size markets, which I qualified for because I bring a lot of energy. I have video skills. I've done all kinds of public speaking. I've done a lot of reporting. I've done a lot of writing. I can edit. Um, yeah, it's pretty typical for them to fly you out. So I finally fly out, have a great visit, come back home, and I don't immediately get the HR documents from that station, which is really surprising because the news director had told me, uh, yeah, I'll have all this within 24 hours. It's typical to get that stuff. Like the broadcasting company, the parent company moves very quickly. They want the stations to move quickly. And once you've flown out, it's pretty much a done deal. So I had the official letters from the first station, the slightly smaller station that I had visited, but I needed to visit this other one. And the first station knew that. I needed to visit this second, bigger station and see what the people were like. Because even though it was a bigger station and a bigger media market, that didn't necessarily mean that I would automatically want to work there, right? Vibe check. You have to be happy with the people you're working with, or at least not miserable. So, sitting at home for a couple of days trying to relax since I just came back from this big international trip. My friend died my last night that I was there. A friend who was 38 years old, a young person, died from complications related to pneumonia. You might have seen some of our collaborations on this channel. Megan J. Meehan, we worked on her garden together, A Soul to Squeeze, and plenty of other things that you can find on this channel and her website, meganjmeehan.com. So, back to the story, which you'll eventually get, I promise. Uh, I'm, yeah, just, oh, and yeah, my friend died. I had to go to her wake. I went to these two stations. So it was a lot. It was like a month of just very intense activity, my emotions being all up and down, being jet lagged, just having to decide, am I going to move to a smaller place, a significantly smaller place, after I have built a career here in New York, after I've been here for 9 friggin' years and made something of a name for myself. Brooklyn's top 50 most fascinating people. And I just won the Ponce Bank Award for Best Painter, Best Artist this year. Last year, the Freelancer Union's hardest working freelancer of the year. I'm in a TikTok for 5 Hour Energy right now that's blowing up. I just released my Village Halloween documentary, which surprisingly, the trailer for that has also blown up on TikTok. Just all these things. I'm very proud. I'm in my own studio space. I have my own studio as a New York City artist, and I am not a trust fund kid. That's why I developed my character Art Bitch to poke fun at those kinds of people who have so much handed to them. No, I have worked hard and I have built a lot. And for me to leave New York is not an easy decision. But I've had this broadcast company dangle this carrot. And if you watch my summer check-in, then you know I actually was offered a job in rural New York. I accepted it and I was all set to work it. But then there was some sleazy behavior between the general manager and the news director and lack of communication that made me realize, yeah, this is going to be a toxic workplace and I want nothing to do with this. So, as I'm sitting at home, waiting on this job offer, trying to take a breath, I I start to think that the offer is not coming because it didn't come in those first 24 hours. So what happened? Why why did they change their minds? And I'm like psychoanalyzing everything about the visit at the same time feeling like, oh my God, do I actually want to move here? I know it's a full-time job. I know it offers security. The salary would be decent. There would be benefits. Um, and who knows what this could lead to next? And who's to say I couldn't make friends in this place, that I couldn't figure things out and make a creative career and find a creative community outside of the workplace? I was really rationalizing very hard, y'all, like putting so many plans, playing this game of chess with myself. Oh, and if I do this, then my next move is this, and blah, 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 blah. The point is, the offer never came. I returned home Wednesday afternoon or early evening, something like that. Thought I was going to be hearing back by Thursday evening, Friday morning. Nothing. Nothing by end of day Friday. I asked my boyfriend, Aaron Gold, who you might have noticed is now my partner on this channel. We're merging our brand in a sense. Um, I asked him, like, should I follow up with the news director? I thought the visit was perfect. I thought, like, I truly had no doubts about my performance and the way I related to people. And he said, no, you need to wait. Wait until Tuesday. If you don't hear back by Tuesday, you can follow up then. But I think he wouldn't admit it, but I think he was starting to wonder if this was coming. Although, from his end, he thought the idea of me moving to Little Rock or Wichita would have been insane with what I have built here and with the path that I'm headed on here. So, Monday, late morning, I finally get a phone call from the news director, and this would have been the Monday after Halloween, after we had a major flood in New York City that actually killed people in Brooklyn. If you haven't seen the shorts that I posted of this flood, you should definitely do that. October 30th. And I might have posted more October 31st. I know also on my Instagram, Stoddard says there's more. Um, and that just added to the stress of this period, like surviving this flood where my street had 2 feet of water and my apartment lobby was a mess and the nearest intersection had 4 feet of water. Monday, I get the phone call. The news director says, Christine, I think you're wonderful. This is how you know a breakup's coming, right? I think you're wonderful. I think you're talented. I think you have a lot of potential. But I finally Googled you. And I don't know why I didn't do this sooner. This is really my fault. And I apologize. I'm so sorry that I waited this long because I had just looked at your reel and your submitted published writing samples before. But I Googled you and I've found that you're a New York artist. Now, he knew that I was a New Yorker, that I've been a New Yorker. I've been here for almost 10 years. It's going to be 10 years in the spring. He didn't necessarily know that I was an artist because I didn't indicate that in my reel because I just had reported stuff, like on-air reporting, some anchoring, and some talk show stuff. From the talk show stuff, my sense of humor, my energy, my personality comes through. All of that. This brand, this package comes through. I'm more of myself. I'm more casual. Still pretty articulate, I'd like to say, and not scandalous, just honest, just real, not all buttoned up. And he said, with our conservative audience here, that's just not going to fly. With a New York audience, sure. With an LA audience, sure. But here, people are going to Google you and they're going to troll you and they're going to troll the station. It's happened before. Now, Arkansas is a deep red state. If you don't know about Huckabee Sanders, you should, because she's horrible. That entire family is horrible. And there's just, yeah, a lot of wacko, regressive behavior down there. A lot of it comes from ignorance, and that doesn't mean that there aren't incredible people. I'm open-minded. I also have lived other places. I know that people from all over the country and all over the world have something to offer. I don't believe in the idea of flyover country. I think every place is worth visiting, has something to contribute to the country. This is why I considered moving to a place like this because there is something to admire. There was a lot about Little Rock that reminded me of Richmond. Now, Richmond is more progressive than Little Rock, but there's still overlap with the creative community, with Southern culture, the food, it being a state capital. They're also of similar size, the population. Um, but back to the news director, he was saying, I've thought about this all weekend, but I just can't offer you this job. Like, there's nothing you can do at this point to scrub all of that history from online. And it's true. I have contributed to progressive publications for a decade now. I have made art, I've made films, I made videos that are not G-rated. And again, I think you have to be pretty pearl clutching to find my work scandalous. Um, but yeah, I can see why a conservative viewership wouldn't want my brand, right? I have a show called Badass Lady Folk. I have a comedy character called Art Bitch. There are people who don't want to hear those words, bitch, ever in any context. Badass, ever, any context. It doesn't matter. Badass Lady Folk is also a feminist show, a womanist show. And there are certainly conservatives many conservatives, who don't like those words. So, yeah, I get it. And the more I think about it, yeah, he's right. And, with Wichita, basically the same thing followed. I went back there because the Little Rock guy was like, well, I hope the other job offers are valid. There was also one in Watertown, New York with the same company, and that was my backup. I went to Wichita, said that I was still interested. The news director said great, but it's the same company, so I guess they talked. And a couple days later, she told me, actually, we can no longer offer you this job. Um, I talked to my general manager. That's it. Watertown was still waiting on me, and I just said no, thank you. Because that's also a conservative place. It's New York State, but it's not New York City. They are different places. That is a Trumpy area. Um, I'm proud of my body of work. I'm proud of the films I've made. I'm proud of the books I've written. I'm proud of the magazine pieces that I've authored as a writer, as a photographer, as an illustrator. I stand by all of my work, my entire body of work. Does that mean that I think everything is perfect? No. Do I think everything is a masterpiece? No. Do I have a lot to learn about this world? Yeah, but everyone does. That if you are humble enough to realize that life should involve constant learning, education, humility, recognizing your mistakes, rectifying those mistakes, and growing, you're my kind of person. If you're the kind of person who says, no, I'm perfect, everything I do is perfect, everything I've ever done is perfect, I refuse to grow, my ideas are not flexible, I won't change my mind about anything, then you're not my kind of person. Conservative people are, just by the nature of being conservative, more traditional and they are harder to persuade. They're less likely to change their minds, right? So it's better that I'm not living in a place like that. It's also better that I'm not leaving my studio space. It's better that I audition here, that I create here, that I collaborate with the various filmmakers, writers, actors, producers, photographers, etc., that I have met here. I cannot let a crisis in confidence steer me away from my vision and really my path. If my goal, which it is to continue creating my own projects and reaching audiences using my voice, my vision, my unique point of view, it does not make sense for me to work at a company that skews conservative and is becoming more and more conservative. The CEO of this company has publicly praised Trump. If you looked at nothing else for my body of work, I was a political reporter at Bustle, and my writing was fairly objective reporting. But the headlines, because of the world of SEO, were very much anti-Trump. And even if that's who I am, I know that there are times and places where it's appropriate to be explicitly anti and times and places where it's not. And if you're writing a news article, it's not okay to be explicit in that way. You have to show evidence, right? And let the facts speak for themselves. But the editors were trained to write super clickbaity kind of headlines so that people would write these articles that we spent so much time working on and reporting. Um, yeah. And hey, I have a playlist on this YouTube channel called Anti-Trump Content. I get it. Did I dodge a bullet? Yeah. Am I heartbroken? No. This is one of those cases of rejection is redirection. Yes, I was rejected, technically. But is that what I really wanted? No. There are times when I crave security. I think it's natural for any artist, anybody who is a creative, working as a freelancer. Um, yeah, it can be hard, but I also pitch myself regularly and I have people reach out to me for work. It's not like I'm not in demand. There is demand. I just need to stick with it, even when things feel uncertain. And there are days where it does feel like, oh my God, why am I waiting on this person to call back? Why am I waiting on this email reply? I just need to keep selling myself, keep selling my brand. And for the people who want what I offer, great. And for the people who don't, well, there are enough prospects out there. There are enough people who do want what I have to offer. So I don't need to go begging. Not that I was begging. I mean, I was flown out. I was staying in nice hotels, eating nice meals. They were wooing me. And it truly felt the entire time that I was being wined and dined. So for this to ultimately happen, especially after I backed out of that upstate job with the same company, um, it's just a reminder that I really need to trust my gut. And I don't need to be distracted by things that are not for me. That's it. That's one of the reasons why, right after this rejection came, I told Aaron, we need to merge our YouTube channels. We need to really amplify what we're doing. We collaborate so much already. And the Don't Mind If I Don't channel was on the struggle bus. And I think it was going to keep riding that struggle bus for a while because once we put out the bagpipes episode, which you should definitely watch if you haven't already, we waited and didn't know back then that, not that it was even that long ago. It was fall 2023. But we didn't know back then that if you waited more than 90 days to post your next video, that the YouTube algorithm was going to penalize you. So that channel took a hit. And even though my channel, which was called Stoddard Says, was younger because I launched this channel April 2024, it was way outperforming the Don't Mind channel. And that was because from the get-go, after I watched what was happening with the performance on the Don't Mind channel, I scheduled all these videos, all these films, and I had this whole backlog of content. I could do that because I had films and recordings of theater shows and other live shows. I didn't even have to put myself in this like hustle of, oh, gotta keep making YouTube videos because I'm not really here to be a YouTuber, right? I'm not one of those, hey guys, kind of influencer types. I'm here as an artist, and this is a platform for my work as an artist. People who want to be YouTubers, the influencers, that's fine. Go, you do you, girl or boy or non-binary pal. But for me, yeah, this is a platform. And like this video essay I'm doing right now, it's an update. I'm monologuing, but it's not like YouTube, right? It's the most YouTube kind of thing that I have on here, but it's not like truly high level YouTube kind of stuff. So Aaron and I merged the channels. We are now Stoddard Gold, and we're going to be putting our films and theater creations, comedy creations, art, like documentation of visual art here on this channel so that you know where to find what we're making. And you can still find us on Instagram, of course. Stoddard says for me, and hey, it's Aaron Gold for him. But this is where you'll find most of our video stuff as we make it public. Got to do film festival circuits for some pieces first before uploading them here. But yeah, in time, this is where you'll find everything. So, hey guys, thanks for watching my update. There's a lot more to come, and I'm really excited about. I feel like reinvigorated. I'm an artist, and that's not for everybody, and that's fine because that's one of the points of making art.